the end. Welcome back, motherfuckers. We're back for Week 13 Power Rankings, brought to you by the commish, for the league, for my friends that are also my brothers at the exact same time. Welcome back, guys. Pretty excited. Big week ahead of us. Week 13, probably the biggest week of my entire existence. Week 13, GB versus Big Frank. GB versus Big Frank. Big Frank versus GB. Pretty much the biggest night of the year. Sunday night watch party. We're going to have one. Let's just get into the Week 12. We're not going to get into too much dialogue here. Let's just get right into the nitty-gritty of exactly why we're here today. Goodell equals Hitler, 138.75 to 99 against Brady Bunch. That was an easy fucking win. Thank you, AJ. You are again in almost last place where your team deserves to be. Thanks for declining to be on the video today. B-Money classically loses to RG3-Way, 142 to 90. Double Doors Army pulls a quick L against Flapjacks and Halfbacks, 114 to 95. El Chapo with another L at 5-7 to Trader Danny, that is 6-6, 140 to 118. And then we have a Team Has No Name destroys Dan, ELE, 155 to 93. And then Tom's Loyal's Disciples pulls off a big W for guys like me. Conti wins last week. He would ended up being in the playoffs, and it would be 131 to 121. So that was a pretty big deal. I'd like to bring in a new segment that I've actually started. I've actually hired a new anchor. His name is George. George, please take it away. He was able to find Big Frank in the locker rooms between weeks because he's getting ready for week 13 against GB. So, George, take it away, please.
Hello, this is George. Calling in. Thanks, Big Frank, for having me on to discuss with the old Big Frank League of Gentlemen's manager, Goodell equals Hitler. How do you feel about this week playing the Army?
Like I've said, on to Week 13. Really just looking forward to letting my players do the best they can against Army, and hopefully we come out victorious.
A lot of people have noticed, Big Frank, that lately you've been dropping a lot of points. Do you think it's just going to be another classic case kind of week, or do you think you're going to have a pretty tough time here, Big Frank? How do you feel?
Like I said, I'm here so I don't get fined, but we're on to Army.
Last question, Big Frank. After this big win this week, are you automatically going to be a Super Bowl contender? How do you feel?
We're on to Army.
Wow, thank you, George. Some classic conversation from Big Frank. Seems like Big Frank, Goodell equals Hitler, isn't really much a talker. I guess the commish does all the talking here. So let's just go into the next big segment that we always go over. This is why everyone is here. This is why we do this shit. This is why we live. Week 13's Power Rankings. At number 12, the mythical man himself, at 3-9, ELE. ELE has performed just where we thought he would, where he would stay, and my predictions of how this year would end up, ELE is still at the bottom of the barrel. At number 11, another classic case of being a loser, Brady Bunch, 4-8. Number 11, not going to talk to him much about him. Saw him over the weekend. He was pretty chatty with me. But when it comes to being a part of the league, he wants nothing to do with it. At number 10, we have B-Money, the lowest power ranking seed for an 8-4 team in the history of the League of Gentlemen. Barry's team is still dropping less than 100 points per week. You could see him being kicked out of the playoffs the first week. He's 4th ranked right now. So the matchup would actually be that right now, at this moment in time, he'd be playing Trader Danny, which would be pretty exciting stuff for him. At number 9, Double Doors Army, 5-7. That's going to be a seed after this week's matchup against me. That's an easy L for GB. At number 8, we have Hillary's Smelly Clam at 5-7. He did not pay by the deadline. His team was locked. He noticed that the League of Gentlemen is serious. He ended up paying Cam, which Cam paid me, so Conti is now paid in full. Still fighting a cold. Don't worry about me. At number 7, we have El Chapo at 5-7. I think this is going to be his biggest week. I think he ends up with I hope an L, because it always makes it easier for me when he has an L. At number 6, Trader Danny, 6-6. Number 6, 6-6. That's 666. That you know exactly what's going to happen this week to him. He's going to lose. At number 5, Tom's Loyal Disciples, 7-5. Seems like his team is still competing. Pretty fortunate team that he has. He has made 3 moves all season, and he is 7-5. So take note, fellas. At number 4, Goodell equals Hitler, 4-8. At number 4, the lowest record ever to be this high in the power rankings. You already know why. I have over 1,500 points scored this year. Only 2 teams are better than that, which are the 1 and 3 teams of the league. So, with further ado, Flapjacks and Halfbacks at number 3 at 8-4. 8-4. Looking at the number 2 spot right now, but number 3 in our power rankings, but number 1 in our hearts. At this moment in time, I'd like to ask a couple questions to the king himself, Flapjacks and Halfbacks. Of course, if this video just goes into number 2 and number 1, you know why. It's because he never sent me a video back. So question number 1, Luke, do you think your team is a favorite to win it all at number 2 in the league at this moment in time? Give me a quick take there.
Second question, is my team favorite to win it all? Absolutely not. I'm surprised I'm actually responding to these questions because I told you I would do it when my team didn't suck. I still think my team sucks. It's been a revolving door all year. I'm just picking up people on waivers, playing them, dropping them, running it back. My team sucks. I don't like my team. I'm dependent on fucking Duke Johnson and Greg Zuerlein. It's a good squad. So no, I picture myself, I think I'm going to lose first round, but going to just trust my fantasy football instincts and keep picking up dudes that fucking produce.
At number 2, the 2, Tres Preguntas. That's what we're going to call it now, the Tres Preguntas. At number 2, my other question for you, Lou, is when your mother makes you a salad sandwich, is that your favorite sandwich, or do you actually have a favorite sandwich?
Pleasure to be here. First question. Is my mother's lettuce sandwich the greatest sandwich ever? It's up there. Definitely more lettuce than you'd want. I don't know if you have any record of that date, if you have a screenshot of the picture I sent you or whatnot, but it's definitely one for the ages.
Tres Preguntas, last question, Luke. Here it is. AJ, Big Frank, Marion Barber, Ocho Cinco. 3 of them can live, 1 can die. Go.
Last question. This is a tough one. Ocho, Marion Barber, Big Frank, or my friend AJ. Gotta save 3 and kill 1, or let 1 die. First thing I thought of was let AJ go, but then I thought that's mean. He's my roommate. He's a good guy. Just never hangs out with anybody, but he's a good guy. He means well. He wouldn't hurt a fly. Therefore, taking the high road, Chad Johnson, Ocho, Pepe, the greatest FIFA football player on the planet. I think I would have to sacrifice him and then save Marion Barber, my friend Frank, and my roommate and friend AJ. Chad Johnson, sacrifice. He's a god.
And thank you, Luke, for those answers. At number 2 in the power rankings, we'll go right into it. RG Three-Way, 8-4 at number 2. And then at number 1, we have a team has no name at 9-3. The big favorite, everyone thinks that he's going to win it all, which I don't think it's going to happen, especially if I make the playoffs. So that's about it there at the Week 13 matchups. That's the last piece that we got to go over. B-Money versus Brady Bunch, 8-4 versus 4-8. Two of the worst teams in the league going at it. Pretty nervous that actually AJ might actually pull off a win here. But if B-Money wins, it really doesn't change anything in the playoffscape. El Chapo versus Tom's Loyal Disciples, 5-7 versus 7-5. I think Tom's is going to pull that one off. We got ELE 3-9 versus Trader Danny at 6-6. Andy's in 6th place. Andy's a power ranking in 6th, so we'll see how that goes. And he's supposed to score 136 points this week. I think ELE is going to pull that one off, actually. A team has no name at 9-3 versus Hillary Smelly You Know What at 5-7. Right now, Hillary Smelly Clam is supposed to score 0 points. Pretty funny stuff. Flapjacks and Halfbacks, 8-4. Versus RG Three-Way at 8-4. This is probably the game of the week. I think RG Three-Way wins that one. And Goodell equals Hitler versus Double Doors Army, the biggest game of the week. Whoever wins goes to the playoffs. Let's listen in here live. We got Will Cromwell on the line. How are you today, Will?
What's up, dude?
We are live right now. I am recording this video for the League of Gentlemen. You called me during it. How are you today?
I am wonderful. Just leaving the gym, you know.
How's your day?
It's good. It's good.
Who do you think is going to win tomorrow at the Beast? Who are the Beast playing?
Tampa Bay Lightning.
Tampa Bay Lightning. I get to see some Steven Stamkos?
Correct. Yeah.
Incredible. Will has invited me to go to the Bruins. I have never been to the Bruins since I was like 9. I guess I've been to the Bruins and it's never been. Yeah, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be in a Bruins sweatshirt. I own one of those. Will, that's why I was calling, just to confirm with you. Let me just say goodbye to these beautiful people. Another great week. Good luck, Greg. I hope you fucking lose. Have a great life after this game. Goodbye, gentlemen.